Hello everybody, today we will be studying about plant movements. Plants show various kinds of movements. The movements are important because they help the plant in maximizing resource availability and growth. The plant movements help the plant in orienting themselves in the right direction in the soil and maximizing nutrient, water and light uptake. In this module, we will be studying about different kinds of plant movements and the advances made in plant movement. Types of movement in plants: circumnutation, trophic movements, mechanisms underlying trophic movements, nastic movements, mechanisms underlying nastic movements. Plant movements. Darwin in 1881 published a book called The Power of Movements in Plants, in which movements are described as circumnutations, and the causes underlying such movements have been discussed as increased growth first on one side and then on another is a secondary effect, and that the increased turgescence of the cells together with the extensibility of their walls is the primary cause of the movement of circumnutation. Further, Darwin described how plants sense external stimuli such as light and gravity and are able to respond through directional growth mediated movements. He mentioned that the perception of a stimulus and plant growth response do not necessarily happen in the same organ of the plant, and hypothesized that a factor moves from the site of stimulus perception to the site of growth response. Type of movements. Plant movements can be classified into two main categories, namely movements that are spontaneous and those that are induced in the presence of specific stimuli. Spontaneous movements are also called nutational or circumnutational movements, while the induced movements consist of trophic movements if movements occur in the direction of the stimulus, or nastic movements if movement is independent of the direction of stimulus. Circumnutations. These are autonomous movements mostly shown by young growing parts of a plant like hypocotyls, coleoptiles, shoots, tendrils, petioles, etc. The tips of these organs outline a circular, elliptical or zigzag shape over time that may range from minutes to hours. Due to simultaneous elongation of the organ, circumnutations over a longer period are seen in the form of a helix. Circumnutation movements are ultra-radian movements with a period of occurrence that is less than a day. These movements may change in amplitude, period or direction dependent on stimuli received from hormonal applications, morphological feature, temperature, light or gravity. Hence, external application of gibberellic acid led to an increase in amplitude of the circumnutations in Phaseolus shoots, while the dark period increased the circumnutation in sunflower seedlings. The period of circumnutations also varied from several minutes to hours in Phaseolus apicotyls in a temperature dependent manner. The direction of circumnutation may also differ, sometimes even in the same plant. For example, in Arabidopsis seedlings, the short period nutations generally occur in a clockwise direction, while the long period nutations are counterclockwise. The change in direction of the circumnutation may be induced by stimuli like gravity or touch, or they may be spontaneous. Circumnutations may therefore be considered as an outcome of growth and intercellular communication, which are regulated by an oscillator. A model of circumnutations ascribes the movement to asymmetric plasmodesmata development, due to which the symplastic transport of growth substances, especially auxins, is irregular. Beside this, asymmetric changes in turgor due to alterations in iron content may also be responsible for these movements. Changes in intracellular potassium and calcium ion concentrations were shown to change the amplitude and period of circumnutation, probably by altering the electric potential across the plasma membrane. The function of circumnutation is obvious in climbing plants which seek mechanical support by nutations of the young shoots and tendrils. Circumnutations are also thought to stabilize hypocotyls during elongation and inhibition of circumnavigation is thought to be the first response of plants subjected to stress. Trophic movements. Trophic movements are not spontaneous like circumnavigation but are directional growth mediated movements in response to external stimuli like light, gravity, touch, etc. They enable plants to perform better, for example, by directing growth of shoots towards lights or directing root growth towards water. It is the directional curvature of organs in response to differential light and has been mainly observed in young shoots of seedlings. This response ensures that maximum light is available to the plant for photosynthesis. Roots are negatively phototrophic, which means that they go away from light and possibly meant to ensure that the roots grow into soil for water and nutrient absorption. The direction of phototrophic curvature depends on the direction of light stimulus and occurs due to differential cell elongation rates, such that the side receiving less light shows more elongation than the side facing the light source, hence causing bending of the stem towards light. This differential elongation was shown to arise due to differential accumulation of the plant hormone auxin on the two sides of the stem. Wendt and Thiemann, 1937. This differential auxin accumulation is due to lateral movement of auxin from the illuminated side to the shaded side. PIN proteins, which are components of the auxin efflux carrier, play an important role in this lateral auxin transport. Hence, directional light has to be perceived by the stem and the signal transduced to bring about lateral auxin transport. Phototropins are blue light photoreceptors and are coded by two genes, PHOT1 and PHOT2. The phototropins consist of two photosensory domains that show similarity to proteins responsive to light, oxygen or voltage, LOV domains, and a phosphorylating kinase domain. The chromophore is flavin mononucleotide, which is bound non-covalently to the two LOV domains. In the presence of blue light of 447 nanometers, flavin mononucleotide excitation brings about a covalent bond formation between flavin mononucleotide and the SH group of a cysteine present in the LOV2 domain to form the LOV390 form. This brings about an activation of the kinase domain which autophosphorylates the protein. LOV390 is the active form of phototropin which is reversed into LOV447 in the dark. Phototropins are located in the plasma membrane in dark but are rapidly internalized in the presence of blue light, indicating that the phosphorylated form of phototropins dissociate from the membrane. This leads to a reduction in blue light sensing ability of cells. Phototropins are thought to play a role in the formation of differential oxygen gradients. For example, phototropin is known to directly phosphorylate PKS4, which is a positive regulator of phototropism, and NPH3, which is part of a Cullin 3 based E3 ligase complex. SCF NPH3 that plays a role in relocalization of auxin transporters. ABCB19 is an ATP binding cassette transporter that is also an auxin efflux protein like PIN, and both are activated by phototropin, though the mechanism by which this happens is not known. In addition, phototropin regulates the activity of a proton ATPase that acidifies the apoplast, leading to protonation of IAA and facilitating its entry into cells through the auxin import carrier AUX1. Phototropins are also known to bring about a reorientation of cortical microtubules upon phototrophic stimulation and change cellulose deposition, leading to asymmetric growth. However, the mechanisms by which phototropins bring about asymmetric auxin distribution during phototropic response require further research. Gravitropism. Plants have a mechanism to sense gravity and respond to it. Hence, growth of the radicle and plumule emerging from a germinating seed towards and away from soil respectively occurs in response to the gravity vector and constitute a trophic response called gravitropism. Shoots of a plant are said to exhibit a negative gravitropic while roots show a positive gravitropic response. In roots, specialized cells called as statocytes are present in columella tissue of root cap which sense the gravity stimulus, while endodermal cells which form the innermost cortical layers are the gravity sensing cells in shoots. These cells sense the direction of the gravity vector and this signal is transduced to other tissue which show differential growth leading to curvature towards or away from the direction of gravity. In roots, the curvature occurs in the elongation zone of the roots, while in shoots an interplay between light and gravity responses lead to curvature. The statocytes contain dense starch-filled organelles called statoliths or amyloplast. Their position in the statocyte is oriented in the direction of the gravity vector, and when the root orientation is changed, the change in the position of the statolith within the statocytes initiates a gravitropic response in the root. Statoliths present in the endodermal cell of the shoots also play a similar role in the anti-gravity orientation of the shoot. Cariacean algal species which do not have amyloplast were also seen to exhibit gravitropism. In these species, sensing of the gravity vector was thought to raise by the differential weight exerted by the cytoplasm on top and bottom part of the plasma membrane, and this was called the apoplast pressure hypothesis. Both the statolith as well as protoplast pressure could constitute redundant mechanisms of sensing gravity in higher plants for eliciting a gravitropic response. Transmission of the gravity signal to the responding tissue is thought to involve the cytoskeleton of plant cells. The mechanism leading to asymmetric auxin distribution in the root elongation zone is thought to occur by regulation of the expression involved in auxin transport. Localization of PIN proteins, auxin efflux and AUX1 auxin import in the plasma membrane of columella or endodermis cells are thought to play a role in regulating auxin levels in the response tissue and bring about differential growth response. Hence, auxin is a key player in both the gravitropic response and the phototrophic response. Recent evidence suggests that gravitropic bending in roots is mediated by asymmetric nitric oxide accumulation that is triggered by auxin. Thigmotropism. This type of tropic movement is seen when tendrils contact an object and involve the coiling of the tendril around that object. Differential growth that leads to coiling occurs due to osmotically driven contraction of the cells on the ventral side and expansion of cells on the dorsal side of the tendril. Like in the other trophic responses, auxin plays a major role in bringing about differential growth. In the climber Bryoneadiacea, the epidermal cells present at the tip of the tendril form tactile bleps, which are protrusions from the cell wall. Below these bleps, the cytoplasm shows a unique arrangement of actin microfilaments and high levels of membrane-associated calcium. These protrusions serve as mechanoreceptors and signal transducers. In some tendrils, 5 to 6 layers of gelatinous type of fibers, G fibers, exist between the vascular tissue and cortex, which can swell or desiccate rapidly due to their highly water absorptive polysaccharide composition. These fibers are important in bringing about rapid change in shape of cells during the coiling movements and also generate tensile strength in the tendril which causes it to coil. Nastic movement, thigmonasty and nyctinasty. Some plant movements that occur in response to a stimulus are independent of the direction of stimulus. Unlike tropic movements, such movements are called nastic movements and are seen in many leguminous as well as in carnivorous plants. The touch-me-not plant Mimosa pudica is known to fold its leaflets during night, that is nyctinastic movements, and also in response to touch, that is thigmonastic movements. the later type of movement being faster than the former, which spreads to neighboring leaves and leaflets. Movement of the leaflets is controlled by an organ called pulvinus that is located at the base of the leaflet and leaves. The pulvinus has two zones of motor cells arranged on the dorsal and ventral sides respectively. These motor cells can undergo a reversible change in turgor in response to touch or the absence of light. Turgor loss in extensor cells causes the leaflets to fold and the leaf to droop. The mechanisms underlying these nastic movements involve the generation of an action potential due to membrane depolarization caused at the site of touch. This is transmitted to the pulvinus. Membrane depolarization trigger proton influx due to the activity of a proton ATPase, which generates an electrochemical gradient and brings about ions efflux across the plasma membrane. Auxin has been shown to play a role in turgor regulation of the pulvinus cells by regulating activity of the proton ATPase. Calcium levels are also reported to increase in the cytosol of the extensor cells, and it is thought to play a role as a signaling factor for regulating ion channels and also regulating phosphorylation of actin microfibrils. Rearrangement of actin filaments have been observed during pulvinus movements. A decrease in ion concentration within the cell leads to rapid water loss from the extensor cells, probably facilitated by aquaporins or solute or water co-transporters. This leads to the folding of leaves in response to touch. Nictinastic leaf movements also arise due to the opening and closing of ion channels in the pulvinar cells as mentioned for thigmonastic movements, but the triggering factors are light and circadian rhythms induced rather than action potential induced. Auxins, phytochrome as well as some circadian rhythm oscillators are thought to regulate nictinastic movements. Leaf movement is also controlled by bioactive chemicals substances known as leaf opening or leaf closing factors present on the surface of motor cells. Interconversion of these factors to their aglycone or glycoside forms by the activity of beta glycosidase, which is under circadian control, is thought to regulate opening and closing of the leaves. Nastic movements in carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants use leaf movements for trapping their prey. The modified leaves of Dionaea species, that is Venus flytrap, are divided into two parts, namely the upper and lower leaf. The upper leaf has two lobes lined with spine-like projections. When an insect touches the trigger hair present in the center of the upper leaf lobe, the mechanical sensitive ion channels are activated and cause membrane depolarization. This generates an action potential that activates the motor cells and causes leaves to snap shut within seconds. The upper and lower cell layers of the leaf have a turgor difference that is brought about by osmotic loss or gain of water in response to ion fluxes. This maintains the leaves in a curved form, that is open trap. On stimulation, this turgor difference is lost due to water movement between cells, which restores the cells to an equilibrium state and causes the trap to close. Besides mechanical stimulation, the traps are also seen to close in response to electric stimulation. In Drosera sundew, glandular trichomes resembling tentacles are seen on the modified leaves used for capturing prey. An insect trapped on the tentacles is a mechanical stimulant that generates an action potential triggering leaf movement that leads to prey capture. This movement is in the form of rapid cell growth and is slower than that seen to occur due to osmotically driven water flux. Thigmonastic movements in carnivorous plants are brought by rapid turgor changes or cell growth, and auxins appear to play a key role in these movements. Summary and conclusion. Plants show movements of various kinds which are important for optimizing resource availability and growth. For example, circumnattations and trophic movements help a seedling establish in the correct orientation in the soil and maximize water, nutrient and light uptake. Movements enable climbers to find support so that they can grow taller and optimize light capture for photosynthesis, or carnivorous plants to capture their nitrogen rich prey. Some of these movements are slow, that is trophic movements, while others are rapid, that is thigmonastic movements. They are mostly based on differential growth brought about by turgor changes that lead to expansion or shrinkage of cells. Auxins are known to play an important role in regulating plant movements. To summarize, in this module we studied about advances in plant movement. Plant movements are important because by studying plant movements, we are able to understand the responses made by plants to environmental stimuli. Plant movements are important in biomimetic design in the field of engineering. Thank you.